Hello, good morning, beautiful people. Welcome back to Good Morning with me, Misti B. Now, if you have been tuning in, we've talked to Kim Gagne about being a part of the winner's circle. We even had an entertainment industry mogul in here to talk about all things Sade, Luther Vandross, Teddy P, you name it, and some Michael Jackson. I cannot forget him, okay? And today, guess what? We are going to talk about our community. That's one of my personal favorite topics. And when I say our community, yes, I am referring to the Black community. Our guest today is Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz. She is a city council member right here in Houston, Texas. We are going to be right back right after this break.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter Cadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
And welcome back. As promised, I have a guest in the studio who knows all things about the community. Her name is Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, and guess what? Her grandfather was the first president at Prairie View A&M University. Her father was a coach at Jack Yates, and her mother was an educator at HISD. So guess what? She knows all things about Houston, Texas. Hello, welcome, Dr. Shabazz. How are you?
I don't know if I can come in under that bar, but I try to know, and what I don't know, I don't have to consider myself to be the smartest one in the room, but I do know how to get the right answer if I can, if I need to.
That. Now tell me this, so you are a council member. Now for those who do not know what a council member does, could you please explain it for us?
Let me wait for somebody to tell me. No, I'm kidding. Actually, we are to make policy for the city, that governs the quality of life for people and how we can provide city services. And so, that's our main position. And to approve the budget, which we had a major budget meeting last Wednesday. Okay. And so that's on the surface what we do. But of course, there are so many other things that come into play trying to implement quality of life, because I think that's my purpose, to enhance the quality of life for my constituents.
I love that. So tell me, what type of calls do you get regarding the quality of life in your district, in District D, which is 3rd Ward, Texas? Okay.
Well, actually, it's not just 3rd Ward, so it goes from Sagemont on through Sunnyside, South Park, then South Union, 3rd Ward, on to the Museum District. Okay. So you can imagine with the different areas that you get so many different complaints, or concerns, I'll put it that way. And say, for instance, Sagemont floods. And so right now they're challenged with having some of their homes rebuilt. And say, for instance, there was a big lawsuit, so to speak, between the city and the GLO, and GLO won. And what's happening, the homes are being rebuilt. Say, for instance, if you had a 3-bedroom and you don't have 3 separate occupants, then they build your home. They build 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
And then you may not even get a garage. So it's really, really challenging.
And what's GLO, just for clarification?
Government Land Office.
Okay.
And it's run by, the commissioner is George P. Bush.
Okay.
And I don't know if you heard recently about the flood money that they did not give to Harris County and to Houston, and how now Harris County, I think, has been given some money to share. But we have a lot of flooding concerns in that area.
Okay.
And so,
those have to be some hard calls. Okay.
Certainly, because first of all, you've been through a very traumatic experience to have your home flooded. And then you're reaching out for help, and then your home is being rebuilt differently, from the others around you, which could impact everyone's values, property values. And so that's a major concern. And then it's kind of like you're in a position that either you have to take it or leave it, unless somebody can get in and speak to those that make the decisions, which one of the other council members who has an adjoining district has reached out, and in fact today I'm waiting on a response from Commissioner Bush to find out how they're going to handle these concerns.
Listen, and all the rain we're getting right now, this is a perfect opportunity to start having these conversations.
And see what happens out there. Some of the properties, because they have flooded more than once or whatever, they're not even allowing you to build on, so they have gaps.
And where is Sage
in the neighborhood?
Exactly? That's like 45?
That's like off of 45.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Near in the Beltway.
Okay.
Out that way. Okay. Then you move on, and then you have South Park and 3rd Ward, South Union. We have a real problem with trash and dumping. And of course, last week it was approved that we're going to have additional time for people to dump, and perhaps try to alleviate barriers. Because the thing is, people they may legitimately try to go to the dump. Then they get there and they don't have a driver's license, or they don't have a water bill, or their trailer may be just a little bit too long, because we don't serve businesses, we only serve residents, residential. And so then they're turned around. Well, they're not taking their trash back home.
Right. So
they're going to stop, and if you go, particularly the dump for that district is on Sunbeam, and then you have Jutland. And so if you travel down Jutland, you will see a lot of trash. And so that's major. And then with the pandemic and the freeze, the service has been slow.
Yeah,
And then also people are putting their heavy trash out at the wrong time. We have staggered schedules.
Right, and so now it's out here for 2 weeks.
Tree debris on 1 month, and then you have everything else basically in the next month. But people aren't mindful of that. And so I believe we're going to start sending out text messages, which will be helpful.
Oh, very helpful.
That's something else that was approved last week. Text messages to let people know this is tree debris month. Because what happens, they're already behind, and then people put it out, and then it sits for 2 months.
Yes.
Because they put it out at the wrong time.
Who wants to look at that for 2 months if I live next door to you? I personally do not. Let me ask you this, Dr. Evans-Shabazz. So a little topic that I'm very interested in is gentrification. Okay. So you grew up in 3rd Ward, Texas.
Yes.
Now it's being called Museum District. Let's talk about it, because from what I understand, there are pros and cons to gentrification. So let's start on a very basic level. What is, in layman's terms, what is gentrification?
Well, it's being priced out, basically, of a neighborhood that you may have lived in all of your life. And of course, we know, and you say that it's Museum District. I'm still fighting against that, because I think it's 3rd Ward, right?
3rd Ward. Mm-hmm.
And so it depends on where you are, of course. On one side of Alameda, they're calling it Museum District, where originally it was 3rd Ward. And then on the other side, where I live, on the 288 east side, we're still calling it 3rd Ward. And so what's happening is there's no zoning in Houston. And so people are buying properties and they are building high-rises, townhouses, whatever, which is why deed restrictions are very, very important. Because in my particular neighborhood, there was an attempt to put a townhouse in the middle of my residential area. And I have lived there all my life, basically. And, you know, a townhouse would have been just totally out of character. And so fortunately, we had deed restrictions, which kept the owner from being able to build. But see, the problem is, in some areas you can't get deed restrictions, such as across on the other side of Alameda. They don't have deed restrictions because they have commercial as well as residential properties. So that is a problem over there because in fact we have a very tall building going up on, I think it's Carolyn. And you know, people have had problems with that because of the noise and the parking and all of that. So I've had to talk to the developers. In fact, I had a meeting last week with the developers about the parking, because the workers, of course, can park in the neighborhood, but it's prohibitive for the residents. But they don't have to park in the neighborhood because now the construction has come to a point where there's parking available inside the building. And so we need the developers to be consistent with encouraging the workers to park inside the building so that it won't be a problem for the residents.
Absolutely.
And you know, and that's a pretty simple fix.
And that's a simple ask as well.
Yes.
We're going to be right back. We're going to continue this conversation because I want to go deep with the Alameda corridor area because that affects me personally.
I understand.
So, right after this
I can talk
break,
about that too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Right after this, we will be right back to talk more with Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz about gentrification. We'll be right back.
Up at Ron Carter Cadillac with the new 2021 XT6 luxury collection with standard third row seating for just $459 a month for 39-month lease with only $1 down, or purchase and receive 1.9% APR for 60 months plus $2,500 bonus cash. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway. Test drive the new 2021 Escalade today at Ron Carter Cadillac.
Smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm a part of the prenatal care club now, taking all my STD tests.
Did you know your doctor's required by law to test you 3 times for syphilis and HIV?
Yes, my husband and I are making sure I get all 3 tests.
Good. Testing is the key to preventing congenital syphilis.
And good prenatal care is your first labor of love.
Glad to hear your husband is so involved.
Thank you. Yes, taking all my STD tests for syphilis is important to both of us. My prenatal promise is to prevent a stillbirth or miscarriage. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back. Now, are you guys ready to have a conversation about gentrification? Now, okay, Dr. Evans-Shabazz, I have to tell you a personal story. Now, let me start here. I'm from Dallas originally, born and raised in Oak Cliff, Texas.
Aww.
But I love Houston. I can't lie. Houston has had my heart.
You got here as fast as you could.
After graduation from college. But I've been here for 16 years. I love Houston. I love Third Ward, love all things about it. I love that it's people like me who have thriving businesses like I have, et cetera, right? So it's inspiring. Now, I decided, okay, yeah, I definitely want to live in Third Ward. I'm excited, woohoo, can't wait. Get to Third Ward. Don't do that. Don't make that face. Okay. So finally get there, right? I'm here. And, you know, Alameda is thriving, right? And I live like right behind some of the major businesses. And a lot of times, because I'm close to Herman Park, I'll walk to the park to go work out. So I walk to the park, walk back. So I walked back home one Saturday. It's maybe 11:30 noon. And I'm ready to run some errands. go take a shower, come back out, and guess what? I cannot get out of my driveway because somebody is blocking me. So I'm literally thinking to myself at this moment, I don't want to tow somebody. I've been towed, right? It's not fun. So it's like, okay, well, what I can do is I can call the local businesses that I know people are frequenting, let them know here's a license plate, etc. So I'm literally on my phone about to do that, and the young lady walks out. She's like, oh, do I need to move? I said, oh, yeah, it's perfect timing. She's like, I'm so sorry. Great. She's getting ready to move her car. Her friend, however, pulls out her cell phone and starts recording me. Records me, and my car was right here because I was pulling out. Records my license plate and everything. So let's talk about, right. So I was like, okay, so now you're mad at me. I guess she thought I was about to have her friend towed. You didn't even know what I was about to do.
Right.
And you're ready to, be upset and go somewhere that I don't want to go. But, whatever. Anyway, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how this is affecting residents like myself. What kind of calls are you getting just based around that area now, Alpha Alameda?
Well, if you know anything about District D and me, I call it the District of Destination.
Okay.
And because of that, we do have some problems with people trying to access these destination venues, right? And so I get constant calls about the parking, about the noise, because there's an inordinate amount of noise, especially on Sundays when the bikers come and they are revving their motors. And so I have had meetings with the residents. I've had meetings with the owners and the reason I had the meeting with the owners is because sometimes if you go to the owners, they may be able to offer
a solutions
to certain issues. But certainly the bottom line, even after all of these conversations, they can't control their clientele.
Agreed.
And so that's where it's just like when, as a parent, and you have kids that don't get along, the parent has to make a decision. In this case, the parent is the city. And so we've had to come in and implement some parking, no parking, which of course is a problem to the residents, but they can get permits for their guests. But I think we're going to even have to become more stringent on that, because I don't think the hours, I think the people in the businesses may be able to park until 10 o'clock. And that's a problem because people that live there have guests that may want to, they probably want most of their guests to be leaving about 10 o'clock, right? And so those are things. And then we're also looking at the noise ordinance to see if we can tighten that up. Because it's really hard. And, and I know people talk about, the police, defund the police, whatever, but the bottom line is we don't have enough police to be able to constantly monitor these situations. And that's the problem because people more or less know that, right? If you're there and there are a lot of people there, a lot of bikers, whatever, and you only have 2 or 3 police officers, then you're outnumbered. And then, and let's put drinking and all of those things that go into visiting a club into play. And it could become a very volatile situation, which we don't want. And I don't want the police to be put in that position. So we are looking at that. And if I get emails all weekend, and then unfortunately we have a commander over there, Commander Johnson, who is so on top of everything. I mean, we've had to go in, and there've been parties, and then we've had recently about a week ago there was a shooting. But not there in that corridor, but in District D, right there downtown. And they had to close. They had to close the club down for I think about a week or so.
This was Memorial Day weekend, correct?
I'm sorry.
Was that Memorial Day weekend?
It was. It was. And those are things, but it's not just Alameda. It's in District D, it's also Emancipation and some of the downtown venues. But the truth of the matter is, it's not just District D. The people on Washington Avenue are having these problems as well. And they've had it longer because the businesses have been there longer. And so they have the noise and the trash You know, people come out and they may have a bottle when they get there, because I don't know if you can walk out of the venue with a bottle or whatever, even though they've changed all of this now where you can walk with your liquor. And they may throw it in your yard. Then we've had some public exposures.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I want you to try to give me a yes or no. Try. So gentrification, good, yes or no?
No.
No. Tell me why.
Because people who have lived in these areas should be able to continue to live in the area. Now, of course, you get probably more services because you're getting more money into the community. But I'm a people person, and I was raised in Third Ward, and I would be, and Third Ward is a beautiful place to be. And I would be traumatized if I lived in Sunnyside all my life, or Third Ward or South Union, and people are coming and because they can, building these townhouses and whatever,
for $400,000,
and then I'm taxed out.
Yes.
Or even the people, if you're leasing, then your rent goes up because the people who you're leasing from have higher tax payments.
So they have to.
And so, you know, it's a trickle down effect. And so, you know, that is a concern to me, because I'm a Jack Yates, real Third Ward, right? Jack Yates grad. And, you know, just I know that there are people who live in those communities who have been there, especially our seniors. And I'm getting calls about that as well, because they're saying, well, the rent is going up in this apartment complex. And I don't know of anything that I, as a council member, can do to stop private owners from going up on their rent. And, you know, and the sad thing about it is, this is a time where we really have to depend on our support system, our family support system. I mean, personally, you know, if my parents are deceased now, but if they lived in a complex and the complex goes up $40, then that's my $40 payment.
Right.
That's my $40. You know, I got this.
Right.
You know, and that's just really the best and most effective way to do it. You know, which of course means that the children, or the, you know, and they're not children now, they're parents. I mean, they're adults now too. They have to step up, but they also have to access certain educational opportunities so that they can afford to do this. You know, it's very, very difficult to do things if you don't get the money. And I'm, you know, I have an education background myself, and I'm currently the education chair of the Houston branch of the NAACP.
Dr. Evans-Shabazz, I do not want to stop you, but time is up. But I really want to thank you so much for coming in here and having this conversation.
Yes.
Because it's a much needed conversation.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad I had her in here with me. We'll be right back after this break.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter, Cadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back, beautiful people. I can honestly say that I am so glad that we had Dr. Carolyn Evans-Shabazz in the studio today to talk about gentrification, to talk about the trash issues and all of the different things that we are having. So if you get a chance, make sure you go and Google her and look up every single thing you can about her. Now, you guys know that I love to inspire, right? That's my absolute thing, and I am convinced that that is the reason I was put on this planet, to inspire people to dream out loud. Dr. Evans-Shabazz didn't get a chance to really go into this, but she has a saying, and her saying is, if I help someone along the way, then my living has not been in vain. And so my question is, who have you helped recently? Who have you inspired? Who have you, put a little nugget in their ear to keep going and to keep pushing? I do want to share a very vulnerable moment. I've always been, my mom kind of really instilled in me as a child to be confident. Like literally, she would comb my hair and then put me in a mirror, and I was literally saying affirmations, and not just I'm beautiful affirmations, but I am strong, I am intelligent, things of that nature. And some days I don't feel like that. And I can honestly say, I think being on the show, it made me feel like, hey, I need to be perfect. And so I was having a moment this morning of wanting to be perfect, wanting to make sure I spoke a certain way, looked a certain way, act a certain way. And I just realized, like, you know what? No, I am perfectly Misti, and that's who I am, and that's who I will always be. And does that perfection include flaws? Absolutely it does. So I want you to know that you are perfect just the way you are. Flaws included. Be you, show up as you every single day. Authenticity is the best way to go, and the right people will come to you when you're being your authentic self. We look forward to seeing you guys next time, because we're always talking about something good and amazing. We will see you next time right here on A-Star TV. And guess what? If you have a question or if you have an inspiring story that you want to share with me, make sure that you email us at info@americanstartv.com. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.